Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Gleek. Tell it like it is. Good evening, everybody out there in YouTube land. Good evening. I'm back, Mr. Gleek. Now I'm here today just to talk about a little something something. The NBA and this young player John Morant. Just a little something on that. Okay, let's see who's tuning in. Let's give a few more minutes. Let people tune in. Don't want to get into the topic or into the conversation with other people tuning tuning in to get the actual start of the conversation. Like I say, Mr. Glee, tell it like it is. It's not, it's not hard to do. You just have to be straightforward. A lot of people cannot be straightforward. They have to be phony. And they got to keep it in a way to maintain their sponsorship or whatever it takes for them to keep up their podcast. Might be censored, might have a sponsorer, who knows. But if you haven't subscribed to this channel, we will deeply appreciate if you do. Everyone counts. Leave a comment, whatever. All the stuff that YouTube asks to maintain a channel on their platform. Like I said, we want to talk about young John Morant. It's crazy how they want to treat that young man. All of a sudden, he he been in the NBA now for about 4 years. Still nursing the sore throat. It's getting better. Excuse me. Mm. Yes, he been in the NBA for about 4 years, and he was doing his thing. He is good. He's me. I know, and we all know he haven't won anything as yet. but he is good so far at what he do. So in a few more years, he will be Mr. NBA. As we all could fold back a few years, Stephen Curry was not the face of the NBA coming out of college. He barely was considered to be an NBA player. So it takes time to develop the craft to move it to that level where those trillionaires use your use your tool for their paychecks, or they pay days. By saying that about Stephen Curry, I look at young John Morant to be at that level in a few years. But he get himself involved in so many different mayhems, we call it, as a young man coming up in that platform. And coming up in that platform, especially being a high draft pick that he was, he have a tattoo on his back. Excuse me. Not a bad one, but people eyes are on you. So basically, as a high draft pick, your name becomes somewhat of a household name. The higher you are, the more bigger your name will be. And if I could recall, I think he was number 4 or 5. That's pretty high. He now is involved again in Memphis, Tennessee, with a gun allegation, allegedly. It is crazy to me for him to be in that same situation again in in about 3 months. Two. That's crazy. I don't know who actually to blame. because did not heard of all of this crazy stuff with guns and that type of behavior until his, I will say, his second year. You might see you might have seen how he started to grow into a little more like a rough skin in the league, like he is a tough guy. Use that for an example. That he could mount off to whoever he choose to and when he choose to. Basically, he was getting, not was, yes, he was getting away with it, and it just get worse. As a top draft pick at that platform, I saw you have a crew, a network of people around you to keep you humble. He's only 24 right now. Only. By saying that, who are the camp leader or leaders to be around Sean Morant? You get it now? Who are the camp leader or leaders in his circle to keep him humble? Wow. Now, in being a celebrity on any platform, your circle should be supposed to be a team to keep you, number one, away from negative things or anything that could bring a negative vibe towards you, number one. That's their duties, their jobs to protect you. Now, by you being number one, you cannot get brassy and telling your leaders what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. That's when the problems start. You might as well be the leader of the crew who's supposed to protect you, plus you be the number one in that crew. When things like that happen, huh, just roughly speaking, 99.9.9% of the time, number one in that circle will crumble. will do a lot of stupid stuff, and his or her crew, will be looking crazy when things like what young John Morant did come to life. I understand that young John Morant is not a street tug, none of that wildlife, crazy stuff that he trying to pretend that he is a part of. But maybe to be accepted in the younger generation, he think that's the way to go. And that's when the people in the camp who we have as my advisors, my protectors, step in. Hey, hey, Joe. Nah, don't get into that. That's BS. Now, those people in the camp, the advisors who's supposed to keep him humble, should have no fear. Again, have no fear of number one, which would be John Morant. If I should have to snatch him by the collar, yo, dude, mm-mm, mm-mm, don't do that. That's messed up. We don't need that type of heat. Just a few years back, a few decades back, we had a young fighter from New York, Kid Dynamite. Kid Dynamite. Who remember him? He was bad. He was taking people out left and right. When his camp leaders fell weak, Kid Dynamite fell weak. It did not happen right away, but eventually it happened because he's not now just a superstar in that camp. He won't become number one advisor. He knows everything all of a sudden. You can't tell me nothing. I'm the one making the big contracts, not you. You just a trainer, advisor who I paying. You're not paying me. So sit down, shut up if you want to have a job. Basically, allegedly, that's what happens. And something like that is happening with young John Morant. I think. That's just my opinion. Because young John Morant is a superstar. He has been reprimanded before for having a gun. So they said he was slapped on the wrist. Don't do it again. But it happened again a few months later. Now it comes, let's be tough. And a lot of people are saying how he deserved this stiff penalty that the league came up with. Well, if you do your homework, just a little bit of homework, not much. If you have 10 questions, answer three. Maybe the teacher might be happy. She's going to fail you anyway, but you answered three. There is nothing on the NBA books or in the bylaws for something like this. So by me saying that, they have no guideline on how to punish young John Morant for his actions. That's if the actions is criminal. Come on now, because as the land run, criminal activities are on the books. Some kind of number to be punished by for your actions. There's nothing on the books. So basically now, since we have nothing on the books, we have to come out as tough as we can. I thought everything start with baby steps, then graduate to a bigger step. So there are a lot of people out there saying he deserved it for what he did, bouncing around Memphis, Tennessee with a firearm. I like what JJ Redick said. I don't think that he is defending John Morant. He is just putting it out there with a lot of other professional sports writers and commentators afraid to say for obvious reasons. Riddick was, hey, I'm with him. I'm with him on what he said. Someone had to say it. But like I said, other professionals at that level just is and was afraid to drop it like that. John Morant is playing for the Memphis Grizzlies, which is in Tennessee. You do not need a license to carry a firearm in that state. So, what is young John Morant doing wrong? Just holding it in his hands? That's wrong. Your someone with your crew take a picture, or they recording y'all having fun, just driving around, just not even shooting it, just having your hand dancing with it. No one know if they are loaded or unloaded. It's just young people horsing around. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing against the law to do that. Why is he being reprimanded? What have he done wrong? What rules did he broke? Or this is just rolling over from other things that he might have allegedly did, and hold up, man, this kid doing too much, man. We need to spank him and show him who is in control here. That's what I think. He has did nothing criminal. He being charged with nothing criminal. So why is that gun, firearm, is so important to reprimand him for at such a harsh level? I don't know. Maybe when people at that level sign these contracts, there is always rules, but there might be some unwritten rules. How do you supposed to learn the unwritten rules if you don't grow with that platform? It's like a baby coming in this world. Your parents teach you things. It's not on the books for them to teach you this. It's unwritten things that they teach you. A lot of it, the majority of it. You don't learn that in a flash. Them unwritten rules that your parents trying to teach you, it takes time for you to adapt and fully understand and know how to work with it and deal with it. Johnny, come down from there. You can fall and hurt yourself. Johnny ain't gonna stop the first time he told not to do that. That's the name of the game. That's what every human, even those trillionaires who are signing a paycheck for those professional athletes on that platform or that kind of platform. They had to grow too. They had to grow to get where they are today. It didn't happen overnight. They did some crazy stuff. Not once, not twice, maybe. 7, 8, 9, 10 times until they learn how to do it correctly. They became a trillionaire overnight. There was lots of falling down and getting back up and falling down again. You have to learn. So, not giving a pardon to young John Moran for what he allegedly has done, but I think it is too harsh of a punishment. Now, if you want to say this is our reasons why we are doing this, you still have nothing on the books to guide you by as a ruler platform to measure what you think is wrong he's doing to put it on the books now. So it should start off with baby steps. If they wanted to be so tough, like they trying to do now, when he first was slapped on the wrist for playing with firearms, the owners, the managers, the coaches, whoever on that upper platform with the commissioner should have written down things and sending members out through the league that this is something we have to look at. This is some things what we need to get on the books just in case if this should happen again. Woo, 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 woo. However, they do stuff in that type of meeting to get things on the books. Okay, young John Moran Camp again. I understood that his father is a member of the camp. When you was drafted, your parents was a big part of your life. You you was acting like you were a humble child, respectable child to your parents. Now all of a sudden, it's a big change because you signed a $200 million contract. You think you're larger than life. Now that your parents might be on your payroll, you think you are better than they are. Think you're more wiser than they are. You might have, say, a PhD, a master's, a bachelor's. Your parents might not. That do not mean you are wiser than they are. That's where a lot of people get things twisted because they have moved a step or two beyond what their parents did. They think now they are above. But how you get there? That same parent would not make it happen to you at the lower level. 100,000, 200,000. They don't make, your parents don't make that. But whatever they work for and provide you with was from their little change, you might look at it to be to get you to that level. You did not get there by yourself. So maybe John Morant parents, maybe, might be on his payroll and he think that he is the SHIT. Everybody yield to me. Maybe he might be angry at his parents for some things he was disciplined for growing up. Now it is the time for me to pay them back. Well, I did not get my PlayStation some nights or my um that PlayStation, the 1, 2, and 3 business. He's still angry. Like most children be when they get older, they can remember some kind of punishment that happened to them for their ignorance. And they think their parents are wrong for putting down a little punishment. So now that your parents can't do the physical things they used to do when you were a youngster growing up, now you holding the bag. So you're going to act like you the SHI. And if they open their mouth, maybe you might let them know, like your parents might tell you, this is my house. You do what I say. Now you have the opportunity to pay them back. It don't work that way. Nah, that's what you tell your children in years to come. That's how that works. A lot of people get it twisted, and that could be the case with young John Morant. His parents cannot tell him, son, that is wrong. Maybe they just fallen in place like everybody else because they do not want to lose out on their lose out on their paycheck. Who knows? The unwritten rules of anything. That's when people in the camp, the leaders in the camp, need to grab young John Morant and say, hey, slow down. You can't do that. And if he do not want to respect your opinion as the head coach of that camp, you need to do something, coach. Either stay there and let him push you around, or you could turn the tables and let them know that this is my position here. This is your position here. If you don't respect my position here, this chapel is too small for both of us. In this day and time, these younger athletes have the internet. Remember, I spoke about an up and coming superstar by the name of Kid Dynamite, who was a loose cannon, just like young John Morant in the same age category. This Kid Dynamite was the youngest. He became the youngest heavyweight fighter in boxing, who name later was calling Iron Mike. They have the internet. They can see. They can learn how not to be. Not like when Iron Mike was coming up. That was a lot of people telling him, woo, 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 woo. He might just thought they just old people talking foolishness. But now, in this day and time, these younger up and coming people, stars, athletes, it's all on the internet from there for them to see. That when you act like that, you go downward. Anyway, I hope that young John Morant do not suffer all of those games absent from the game. If he do, he's super young. He will bounce back, and I believe that he will come back swinging, be more explosive than he ever has been, but he will have a better attitude towards the game and his position. He would learn that I'm not here just being a young man in my 20s running wild. I'm a young man in my 20s who is the face of a big platform. And there are thousands, millions, tens of millions young people looking up to me or looking at me. And that is not the example I want to put out there. I did mention they have the internet nowadays. Just look at the internet. People in the camp show him athletes before him who have run the leagues, who had to grow, who some fell and never got back up. The league put their foot on their necks and break them to a point of no return and find another face. Young John Moran, this game been around for a very long time. There's hundreds of you who have walked on that platform. Some they kicked out, they broke them. You don't run this show here, we do. Some they work with, like they trying to work with you. Some of them still around today. A lot of them are still around today. But you ask them what they think about young John Morant, they they like forgot how how they were when they was in their early 20s in the league. Now they speaking of that person who matured in their fifth year to going into their 10th year and got better at it till they became a pro at it. And you ask them things about young John Morant, they coming on with a bunch of BS. I think he should be reprimanded for this and disciplined for that. He is ignorant. Someone making that much money should not act that way. Woo, 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 woo. I think some of them are just bitter because over the course of their career, they never made the kind of money that young John Moran is making right now. But they have to understand, y'all had your opportunity, and y'all was making more than the players before you, and before that, and before then. That's the name of the game. How it grows. Now, take that out of the picture. Now we talk about this. You was a hard-headed young 21, 20, 24, 26 headed kid in the league in your era. Older players had to talk to you and show you the way. Oops. Let's don't always take up a rock or stew on a switch and start swinging at other people. Let's start showing them. Slow down. You understand? We've been there, done that. It hurt a lot of my colleagues. I'm just one of hundreds who made it, who saw the light. I started I started to listen to my coaches and my camp. Where's my coach? Where's my coach? You remember who said that? A hard-headed young superstar. It happens on all platforms, but we have to be strong in our camps and let number one know, he or she, no, calm down. If you have to be that parent figure, if you have to be that monk in that camp, you have to make it happen. Well, mm, I normally what I does make a few sketches on things to browse over and talk about, and most of it I do not even use. It's just a step to help me keep me on point or in the realm that where I would like to go. by saying that uh, I understand, and I mentioned this before, the unwritten rules. So I took it upon myself to go and check Google to see professional athletes who have got into trouble with the law. And it was amazing to me on what I saw. In one of the categories, I will talk about this one. I checked different because, as we know, there's different types of behavior on the books. I checked three, and they have the athlete, former athlete, coaches or coach, ref, whatever names they call all them athletes. Not going to top of it, but names and pictures. And say, for instance, each of those categories had between 30 to 50 names. And each of the categories, the African descent were the most. Now, one of the categories, it is something that happens a lot in the world. And in the last 10 years, I'm not going further that far back. In the news, it was a lot of athletes in this category. But according to Google, their names and pictures are not there. We all use Google for a platform like the dictionary. I was surprised because I know I saw certain athletes on the news for their bad behavior. Although it was swept under the mat, it made the news, but it's not on Google. When you are on that platform, you have to do twice as good to be on top and stay on top and to do the right thing because the target is there for anything and everything. even if you are in a gun carrying state with no license whatsoever. You could go into the gun shop right now in Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee, and buy a firearm and walk out with it on your shoulder, in your waist, in the holster there, anywhere, and you're good. Go to Google right now. Talk about someone athletes with firearms. And you'll see. Huh. Are you kidding me? That's the picture y'all want to paint to the world? That only African descents have firearms? Are you kidding me? Who have more firearms? During our Independence, Christmas, people celebrate using their firearms, not to hurt nobody, to just play with it, having their celebration. You're telling me if you are on that platform, you cannot use your firearm just to celebrate? That's been happening for hundreds of years in this great land. I see people who works for the government and officers, senators and stuff. On the guy, I forgot his name, on when JJ Riddick was talking and giving his 2 cents about John Morant, of his whole family. Nothing wrong with that. He's a elected official. Nothing wrong with that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Come on, people. Elected official taking pictures with the family, Christmas pictures, what giving out to his constituents and his community. Not like his family are in their 20s. They are, whoop, look at the picture. People wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. If you want to be a member of that playing field on that platform, do the right things. That does not mean you are soft. That means you're wise. $200+ million they are paying you. You might feel that they think they own you, and they might feel they think they own you. But that's a two-way street there. I doing something for you for a paycheck, and you is getting paychecks from what I'm doing for you. You're not just giving me $250 million for giving it to me just to give it to me. You're giving me that to work, and you're making more than that of my performance, of my job. I'm not telling you how to act, what you should do if you want to use me, my service. I'm not trying to put none upon you and trying to, oh, this is how you have to act if I'm working for you because I don't want my name to be tarnished. So why you trying to tell me? Especially when I'm staying in boundary of the law. That's something we never think about. And that's something that the big sport writers will not talk about. I do not want to work for you because of your bad behavior. You are tarnishing my name by me working for you. I'm making you all this money, but you have some bad behaviors. Ouch. Supposedly those athletes turn the tables on those trillionaires, billionaires. It's just, let's be human. Let's be human. Young John Morant did not break no rules. Let's be human. Just say, hey, there are some unwritten rules you have to go by. Hire a veteran player to be in camp who young John Morant will respect because this player has did wonders to in the league to move the game further than it was when he came in or when she came in. You know, hire a veteran just to be there to help your team grow in the right direction. You're not gonna lose up on no money for that veteran to be there 2 months to nurture the younger up and coming stars, to be a mentor to those up and coming stars. You might let the veteran go and play a few minutes when the game is out of reach, just to keep his body in shape. But a veteran is coming in knowing this is my role here to be a voice in the locker room, to keep these up and coming stars keep their head on a swivel, keep their head focusing around them, looking at the game, the players on the court, off the court, not just looking in one direction and going in one direction so they could see the danger, know the danger, to walk away from the danger. That's what young John Morant needed. Anyway, thank you guys who will be watching this clip. Thank you guys for tuning in on it. Subscribe, support my channel. I'm just an up and coming YouTuber trying to get it done. With just support, maybe I can hit the 5,000. That's what I'm looking for. That's my goal. Hit that 5,000. Say there's the 19th. We call it the 20th. May. Maybe 2 months from now, hit the 5,000 subscribers. I deeply appreciate the support. That would help me out greatly, and that will move our channel further in the game. Only this can happen with the help of you guys out there. For now, this is Mr. Gleek. Tell it like it is. Peace out. Next time.